My apologies, folks. I just started recording this and I forgot, my bad, but we're working on Mobirise today. So we're starting with the latest version of Mobirise 5.2.0. And we're at the moment, we're working on changing the basic styles of everything. Okay, and then down here, you want rounded buttons. Notice the difference of this about me. You know, do you want them rounded or do you want them squared off? It's up to you. I would just, these settings though for the site styles will be the same throughout, so that if you want rounded buttons, they will be rounded buttons throughout your entire website. And again, that's just good practice. I'm sure from their perspective, when you when they're designing to do that page by page would be a nightmare, but this will be throughout your entire site. Now, do you want animation on scroll? You can add that if you want. If you want the scroll button to the top button, you can add that. And I kind of like that. The arrow color, I'm going to leave black. If you want it gray or a different color, you can do that. So these affect the entire website. You can see already that the fonts have changed. And that before, when I went in and I changed the view, we have mobile view. So if I click that, that's what it's going to look like on a mobile phone. This is what it's going to look like on a tablet when it's vertical. This is what it's going to look like on a tablet when it's horizontal. This is really dynamic. This is really beautiful. And this is what it's going to look like on a full screen. So that's this little button here. Now, if you're using the older version, so let's click here. This is the older version. So you'll notice that that button for the overall design style is not found here. It's over here. So if you go to sites, and here are my sites, and here is the newest one for Art 196 that I just created. Okay, but we really haven't done anything with it yet. So, because I haven't opened it, but if you look here for the previous sites that I've done, if you look right here, okay, where it says edit site styles, this is where that button is found. And it looks a little bit different. Okay, so that's, they've just changed the location of it. I kind of like the placement of it now a little bit better. I think the improvements that they made are really kind of nice. So I'm going to go back to the current version. And again, let's go ahead and let's work with, because they've already decided for us that we're going to have a nav bar. And if you just click anywhere on that nav bar, notice that it highlights in blue, similar to what we've done in Dreamweaver. Okay, but it's less, it's more WYSIWYG, you know, kind of what you see is what you get. And when it is highlighted, then we have these options here. Okay, if you are a code editor, and I will be perfectly honest with all of you, I know enough code to be dangerous. But if you want, you can come back in here, and here's all the code. So if you feel comfortable going in here and editing it, you know, be my guest. So you can save or close, and I'm just going to cancel and close it and bring it back. So that's kind of a nice feature. Okay, if you want to do that. Now, if I want to drag the block up or down, this is what I use. If I want to save this to a user block so that I create my own custom block, I can do that. Again, we just use Coded Editor, but more specifically right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the block parameters of this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little gear button right here. Okay. So right now we have full screen turned off for the background image. My personal taste is for a splash page or your home page, I like showing, you know, just grabbing the viewer with one big image, and that's it. And then hopefully to, you know, to grab and hold their attention and have them be curious and look at the rest of the website. But, you know, that's my personal taste. If you like this look, fine, but if you don't, if you want to see it full screen, then you just click here. And that's what it's going to look like. You just simply toggle on and off. And that's really kind of nice. Okay, so let me go ahead and let's do that for that. Now, you want to show arrows. So if I click that, here's this down button here. Since today we're just going to build a single page website that scrolls down, that's not a bad idea. If you don't want it to show, then you don't. You just toggle it off, and you can do that anytime. Now, the next step is, and again, this is all controlled from the top, this top menu here. So do I want here, do I want the title to show or not? Okay, that's right here. Okay. So let me make sure that this is selected again, make sure that I've got that. Now I didn't do that, so that's not right. I had the wrong one selected. So that had to do with the main menu down here for the main content. So do I want the logo to show or not? If I click on that, this is their logo. But if you want to, if you want to change it, then that will be easy enough in a minute. You want to change the logo size. You want a nice big, a big one, or you want a small one. I like things that are understated, so I would leave that. We don't have a logo for the class, so in a minute I will turn it off or leave it on. So do you want the brand name? Now by default, this says Portfolio M4. If you don't want the brand name, then you turn it off. Again, if you're just toggling these on and off, can you edit the placement of these? No, they're fixed. If I want to show menu items, that's what we have here. If you don't, then that turns that off. I want to see them. That's important. If you recall, in Dreamweaver, we have created hover states. So if we want, and let's go ahead and close this for a minute. Let's go ahead and close it. Oh, come on. Notice that when I hover over this, hover over these links, I get that gray color. Well, that's what that was about. Do you want to change the hover state? You don't have to create a style for that. You just click in here, and I click and I change the color for that. So maybe if I want it the same color as that I've used for the button, for the background here, I can do that. Okay, so we've done that. So it says show buttons. So if I turn that on, okay, that's that button back here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'll leave it on. But if you don't want it, you just simply turn it off and it disappears. Do you want it sticky or not? By default, it's sticky. That means that the menu item sticks to the top of your screen always. I like that, so that no matter how far down you scroll, notice that you have a menu item, that you have your nav bar up here. So you never have to scroll back up and hunt for it. It's always there. If you want it collapsed, you can do that. I don't like that, but notice how it leaves just the hamburger in the upper right-hand corner. So I don't like that. I'm going to leave that alone. I only want the hamburger to appear when it's on a small screen like this. And then it makes perfect sense. But again, it's your website, your choice. So let's go back again and let's click back in here. Come on. Let's change that. Let's go back again. Okie doke. So hamburger color, black, that's fine. If we have a drop-down menu, fine. Background color, that would be for the menu. And right now it's transparent over this image, but later on, if you wanted a different color, so maybe I want to pick this kind of a deep blue or something. Okay, so just to try it for right now, we'll click on here. I'll use a lighter blue just to demonstrate how it looks. Now we close that, and where you will see it is here when you scroll down, and you'll notice that the nav bar has a different background color. It sort of has UCLA colors, and I'm not crazy about that. Not that I don't like UCLA, I do, But, you know, for my website, that's not the look that I'm going for. So let me go back up here. And let's go ahead and change it. Now, if you want to change the default font for any of these, remember, you have to go back here. If I want to add or I want to edit any of these items, I can do that. So I'm going to leave portfolio here. This one, I'm going to say about us. So I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to name it about us. Okay. So now I have an about us. And instead of achievements, I'm going to name this one home. So, you know, go ahead and highlight it and I just name it home. So that's my home button. But now they're really kind of in the wrong order. So what I want to do here is I want to move these around. So if I click on this one, notice that I have, you know, on any of these, I can add a link here. I can change the color of it. It's a light gray at the moment. It's not a pure white. The font menu, or the menu for the font for the menu can be changed from here. Do you want title 1, title 2, title 3, or do you want text, meaning the size of it? Remember this for us, you're not changing the font itself, you're changing the size of it. So this is like using the H1 through H6 that we were creating in Dreamweaver. So I'll just leave it as menu size here. I like that size. If you want to insert an icon, you can do that from here too, okay? And it gives you all these options for different sizes of icons and different styles of icons. There's tons of them, okay? So there's, you know, possibilities there. So let's click on this again. Now, I want to change the order of this. I want the portfolio to be the third one, and I want the home to be the first one. So I'll click on this one, and I can go ahead and I can move this over. Now this one, if you want to add submenus or drop-down menus, you can do that from here too. And that's what we're working on, and we'll finish up with lesson 11. But I just want to move this over. So I'm going to click that over and click that over again. So now my home button is here. Again, I want about us to be moved over too. So that's one over. So now I've changed the order of them. And maybe instead of this contact us for the background color, that I need to change that. So maybe we, you know, I can do something a little bit understated. But I'll leave it there for right now. But now we're ready to move on to some of the other things. So if I click on here again, and I click on here, so maybe I don't want the logo. Well, let me leave it there for a moment, because I was saying that if you want to change it, you just simply click on there and you insert one of your own images, and that's it. You can browse the computer. And also, do you want to edit the link? Where do you want it to go? Right now, and you have to check all of the links that Mobirise has. By default, it takes you to Mobirise's website. And something that we haven't really talked about yet, but we should, because it has to do with lesson 11, are alt tags. Alt tags refer or are used specifically when the end user has images turned off or they're unable to see the website. Maybe they're seeing impaired or sight impaired. And so a reader will read the website for them. And so what they need to do is, or what you need to do to make it compliant, ADA compliant, is that you need to add alt tags for everything. And that can be very tedious. So instead of this, maybe I can put here, I can, you know, if I want to add that, a link here, I can add that. I'm going to close that. I can edit the link from here, like so, or just click on it. Now, do I want it to go to one of the pages on the website? Now, we only have a single page. So instead of site pages, since if I click here, you can see that it can go to the home page. Or maybe I want it to go to a specific region on the page. And this is how they've set all this up. These are all the regions that they've already set up here. So maybe when I click on that, I want it just to go to the top of the page. So now this is what we did just the other day when we added an anchor tag to go up and down. So that's what all of these are, to link to various blocks on these pages, okay, are basically anchor tags. If we had multiple pages on our website, or if we want to go to, we want it to open to a new window, we can do that. And so instead of going to the top of the page, okay, let's go to a web address instead. So instead, if I wanted to go, for example, to my home page, and again, this is where you have to be careful. Do you want HTTP or you want HTTPS? And if I want to, I can go ahead and I can put it in here to kmart66.com. And because it's going to a separate website, it will take us out of this existing one. I want it to open it in a new window. And I can go ahead and I can insert that link. Okay, that's all there is to it. Okay. Now, do I want this to show or not? Again, I could go back and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to temporarily remove it. So it doesn't permanently remove it. I can always bring it back in. But what I can do now is for the title 2 here, I can highlight that. And again, I'll make this, Art 196. Because that's the name of our website. Do I want it larger or smaller? Now, why it says font, I don't know. Because in fact, all of these, we have, we're locked into that font that we selected down here. So in effect, this is changing or the HL, H1 through H6 elements here. So I'll leave it H2 for title. And again, if I want to create a link for this, I can do that as well. So if I want this to go to a specific website or a specific area on my page, I can do that. If you want it to be an email link, then you just select that. If you want the link to a phone number, you can do that. You can go to, they've added a whole bunch of other things. Telegram, I don't know who uses Telegram. Skype, Viber, SMS, WhatsApp. You can have a link to a specific file. And you can choose PDFs, docs, whatever you want. And then again, you want it to open it in a new window. So right now, I'll just leave it blank. And it's kind of hard to see, as I hover over these. So I probably want to change that. But let's move down to the next section and see where we're at with that. So now if I click on that, again, the main content here, we can go ahead and we can begin editing it. So again, do we want to move it up or down? That's what this is for. If we want to save to a user block to make it unique, we can do that so that we can always pull from it later on. If you want to edit the code, do that. And then if you want to change the block parameters here, and of course, the last one, the trash, if I want to remove it, I can do that. So I want to edit the parameters here. I've already selected full screen. I selected the show arrow down below. I want to show the title, but maybe I don't. So let's remove the subtitle. Okay, you can also do that. I'm going to hide the button. I don't want that. But instead, I want to leave, hello. I'll just say, welcome to Art 196. This is a test website for, learning how to design web pages. Now, that's that. If I turn the button off, but if any time you want to turn it back on, you can. Now, you have a choice. Do you want a background image? Do you want a background color? Do you want a background video? Okay. Now, they have some that are not protected by copyrights, or they're open for fair use. but I want to use the background image, but I don't want to use theirs. I want to use one of mine, or maybe pick a different one. I mean, this is a nice looking guy, but I don't want him on my website. So instead of this image, I will click here. Now you have your options here. It says, here's the free online library. So if you want to pick from any of these, you can. I really don't, especially if you're a photographer, I don't encourage you using theirs because these are really nice images, but you want to showcase your own. Okay. But more importantly, what I want to point out is that if you're wondering how big these images need to be, I would go to the site library. And you'll notice that they have them here. They have all of these images that have already been used in the site. And if we hover over this one, you can see how big it is. And it really for a full page, what I strongly recommend that the size that you use is about 2000 by 900 pixels. Okay, so if you're going to bring your own in, that would be a good size to start with. And for the other, later on, when we're looking at the sizes of other images, for example, the size of images that are going to go into our portfolio, a good size is 1200 by 800. So by hovering over each of these, you can see that the file type, they are JPEGs. And they also give you the size of it in pixels, which is helpful so that you know in the future what size to use for your own images when you're going to substitute. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to browse my computer and I'm going to bring in one of my own images here. So it's probably the wrong size, but I'm going to go ahead and browse in here. And I'm going to pull down here and see if I can't find something that would work. That's 1200. I want something nice and big. And I don't know that I have it here. 1200. I need something that's much bigger. But you know what? I might, at the moment, for today's demonstration, be kind of stuck. So I'm going to have to go with 1200 by 800, and that really is not big enough for the background image. I need 2000 by 900. And I'm looking at the sizes here for my images. So let's see what we have here. I thought I had one earlier that was big enough. And they're not. No. Well, that's the way it goes. So I'll pick, again, one of my images here. And I'm going to pick this one right here. This is one of my personal images. And again, if you want to edit it a little bit here, this allows you to crop. So if I want to crop this a little bit, and if I don't want to show any of the white, and have this stretch like so, I can do that. If you want to pick a standard size format, you can do that. If you want to zoom in, zoom out, if you want to rotate it, if you want to flip the vertical, flip the horizontal, you can, and then click OK. It's been cropped, I click OK, and now I've substituted my own image. And it's that simple. If you ever want to go back, we can undo, like so. If I want to redo, I go back like so, and it's automatically saved. Okay, so let's go ahead and change the next step here and make this. Welcome to Part 196. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the return key here. And I'll say, I hope I could spell, huh? And then here, do you want the alignment, flush right? Do you want it centered? What size do you want it? Okay, which relates to the age. And if I want, specialized design and photography, I'll just leave that for the time being. Now, so there's one more thing that we can change in here. If I click on this again, we have by default parallax. You can click that. So that shifts the image just a little bit, it's turned off. The other thing is, do you want overlay? And you can adjust the opacity of the overlay. So sometimes when the image of, your background image conflicts with the, it makes it difficult to read the text or the buttons on top, you can do that, okay? So I'll turn overlay off and we'll leave it because this reads just fine. Okay, so let's move on to the next section. Let's click on here. Let's move up. So the next one that they have here is the portfolio. And then after that is my blog and about me. Well, you know what? Maybe I want to talk about our class first before I have the portfolio. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this to drag the block up. And notice how it's changed. And I can drag this up like so. And I can move it up to here. And it's still down there, so I'm going to drag it up one more time. And I want to drag it up one more above. Scroll down here. I want it right beneath the start page. So there it is. Now, do you want to change the background color? What aspects of this do we want to change? We certainly want to add our own image. Okay, so again, we can come back in here with this particular section selected, and we can begin to see what options we have available. Now, if you want to add padding, I don't know whether they've added padding or margins, but again, we can adjust the top here. And this looks like padding. And you can see what the background color is for that. And it's by default black. And that's what we have back here. Okay. If you want to change and add, right now we have a background color. If you want to add a background image, you can select that and again, create one of your own. And again, the circle hovers or the color that we've selected by default. The circle color is white for what we have down here. If we want to add padding to the bottom, we can also do that so that it, it sets it apart a little bit. And it's telling us, how many units that we're using from there. Do you want to show the title or not? Okay. Do you want to show the subtitle or not? Again, you can always bring them back. You can always change their size and you can go ahead and input your own content. Last thing, media on the left or right. It's up to you. Show social or not. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll turn that off. And I'll just leave that as is for the moment, okay? Again, that's moving them up and down. If I want, I'll go ahead and we'll scroll down to the next section. And the next one happens to be the portfolio. So again, we have options for us here. Now, some of these I don't want. It says, because it depends on the categories that you have. And if we just had one, but maybe I have categories for all of the classes that I teach, well, I could do that. But instead, if we want, do you want full width or do you want, like so? Or do you want it condensed? So again, how much padding you want to add to the top, the bottom. They automatically added 5 to the top and the bottom. Underline color. So that all of these variables that we have, okay? Do you want to add an overlay? We have right now, there is no gradient overlay added, but if we do that, then this is what we'll have when we hover over the top of the image, okay? And then you can change the opacity of the background color. You can change that for the images. If at any time you want to change any of the images, we scroll down here. And if you want to add to them, remove them, you can do that. But right now, the first image is the one that's selected. And if you wanted to move it over or move, again, like we did the others, you click on it, you hover on it, and you can adjust the position of them. Okay. If you want it to play video, you can add video to all of these as well. And again, you can add tags to these too. So let's go ahead and let's change the first image here. So you have to do that from within here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. Okay. So do I want to browse my computer? Yep, I sure do. And for these images, they're typically 1200 by about 800 pixels. And again, so that's what I'm going to use. Let's try this one. And again, do I want to edit it? And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the whole thing is visible. So click OK. Do I want to add an alt tag? And again, that would be a good idea. So I can, just to give it a brief description of it, we can call it image of meditation. So click OK. So now it's changed, and you can see that it's approximately the same size as theirs, but it's not. So that's another thing that I would encourage you to do. If you're substituting your own images, make sure that they are uniform in size. Otherwise, the grid gets off a little bit. And you just do that, one by one. Again, I can come back in here and I can select. And let's see. Maybe we don't want the underlined. What's the other one that we have here? Show subtitle. What's some other ones here? This I don't particularly want, but maybe I could, there might be another one, so substitute for that. So anyway, one by one, maybe I don't want the blog here. So I can go ahead and I can remove it. So I'll just delete that. And what do I want in its place? If you want, maybe I don't want this either. I don't want pricing for these. So I'll remove that as well. Okay, about me, my skills. I could leave that in there. This is all about me, but if you want, this is more, I would rename this resume. So instead of that, we could go ahead and we could, add elements to that. And again, just by selecting, the individual element here, and we can change its parameters. If you want to add an element or edit or, replace it with another element, we can go ahead here and let's, instead of the, let's go ahead and select here. Okay. And so what they have here is you'll notice this huge menu. Now we've already added, if you want a different menu, you can do that. If you want a different, header, you can do that. And that's what we've added. We've already done all of these. Here are the different slideshows. In the weeks ahead, I'm gonna show you how to create a WOW slider from scratch. If you want to add more images, you can. For features, you could add that. These are all the different elements you can add in here. If you want to add sound, okay. Now this is from, something from that I had done before. So if I wanted to add this one, I could go ahead and I could add this as an element. Okay. But for this particular block, or not block, but for this particular template, these are our limited choices. Okay, this is all that we have. I'm surprised there aren't a few more, but we could get rid of some. But let's say, for example, I wanted to talk more about the class here. So let's go ahead and add a content one here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a content right down here. And I'll go ahead and I'll close it. And if I scroll down to the bottom, you can see that it's been added, why I like photography. Well, I don't want that there. So again, I need to drag this and move it up. So maybe this should be, maybe that should be before about me. Okay. So why I like photography, about me. And again, if I wanted all of this to blend together and I didn't want that black background, I can go ahead and I can come back here and click. I can change the background color, but now remember that the text is going to be invisible now. So we need to change the color of the text. So maybe before I do that, I should come back in here and highlight all of these. I'll change this to maybe a deep gray. And I'll highlight this, and I'll make it. Here are the other options. Change the color. Come on. I'll make it the same deep gray. I'll make this a deep gray as well. And now you can see that there is text there, just that it's invisible. Now when I click here and I change the background color, and I make it white, I presume it's maybe a lighter gray here, so that matches the others. So now it will become invisible with the rest. So it just looks like one continuous page. Okay. So if you want kind of a staggered effect, you could have that. If you want one continuous page, we can do that. And now what we can do is we can preview this in a browser, since it's been saving it all along, and we're running shorter time here. So I'll go ahead and I'll preview it in a browser, and it's publishing it. And this is what it's going to look like. Okay. So you can see that if I click on here, it takes me down here. Okay, now we have the up button, so that will take me back to the top. Now, I have not created any of these links, so they're not going anywhere. It takes me to Mobirise. So I need to go back to each one of these links and target each one of those elements. But I do want each of you, all of you, to make sure that you have a nav bar for your Mobirise. So if you haven't added one, please do, even if it's a single page website. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. If I'm happy with that, now I'm ready to publish it. So what I need to do to publish this is I need to create a folder on my computer to place the elements in here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Art. Oh, come on. Art 196 website. Um, 2020. Okay. So that's going to be my root folder. And now I can publish it. So we've got this here. And to publish it, it will give us some options. Now, I don't want it to go to Mobirise, although maybe they do host websites now. I was unaware of that. If you have a local drive folder, that's what we want. An FTP, if you know and you are sure of the location of the FTP that you're using for your free host or the one that you use, then you can go ahead and you can put that in here, okay? But I'm gonna do it differently since I haven't had much luck with these down here. I'm gonna put it in a local folder right now. So I need to browse that folder, okay? And where is it? It's on my desktop. It's the one that I just created. So let's do this by list. And here's the ART 196. And I'll go ahead and I'll open it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to publish it inside there. And when you do, it automatically puts it in the browser again, just so you can see what it looks like. And it clearly needs work, but you can see that, you know, how we've been doing this. So now what we can do, and this is what I prefer doing, but it's up to you, and we can talk about this again on another day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Dreamweaver. Okay, so now you'll notice that I have a number of websites created here. So I'm going to use my my fall, the one that I did before, the fall 2020 ART 196. Now, right now, it is set up for my lessons. But if I click right here to change the root folder, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change it to the desktop, one that I created. Here's ART 196. So I'm going to choose this one. And now what I need to do inside that is I need to select my my image folder. So under local info, I'm going to click here. And again, inside, I need to make sure that I have the right one selected. So I need to go inside the ART 196 2020 folder. And I'm going to go inside the assets folder, because this is all they have, is they have an index page. Unless you create additional web pages, you have an index page and you have an assets folder. And you'll notice that we have an image folder inside that. So I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to leave the rest alone. Okay, so the cache is going to be updated. And now when I click here, and I double click on my index page, okay, let's make sure that we're looking at in live view or split view. And here's the page that we just created. Okay, and you can scroll down if you want. If you feel really, ambitious, you can see all of their sources, all the bootstrap that's been added, all the media queries, all the selectors that they've created. And if you want to deconstruct this, be my guest. So if I click on any one of these elements, for example, you can see everything that we've done here. Here's the div row. Okay, if I want to look at, we can say show properties for current. And you can see what's been added here or what has been changed. And if you want to play with these, you can. But be aware that you could easily screw things up. But if you're not careful, you can always go back and start from scratch. So where do we go from here? How do we publish this? Well, I want to go back to files. Okay, and I'm going to use the flyout window here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I want to connect to my remote server, the one that I had used for the lessons. And it's trying to connect, and hopefully it will connect, and there we go. So right now, because it says do not upload here, it was in htdocs. So let's go back in here. Let's scroll down, see where everything is. And here they are. This is where we put everything. So to be on the safe side, if you're using the same post that you did for your lessons, I would take each one of these and delete them. So you just click here and and hit delete, and it's going to prompt you. Do you want to delete that? Yes. And you'll do that for all of them. And then when you're done in htdocs, you're going to take that index and replace it, or drag it over here into that folder. And you're going to take the assets folder and drag it in as well into that htdocs and publish it, and everything should work perfectly. Okay, and that's it. And you're done. I'm leaving the lessons in here for the time being. Okay, my lessons, so that I could continue with them and not add this. So, do you guys have any questions about what I covered today? Anybody?
Well, the only question I had was when I was doing the Mobirise thing, there's at the bottom of the page, it has like Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I was trying to on like that particular page, I was trying to add like another block, but yeah, so like that bottom area there, when I tried to add another block, it kept adding the block below it, even though I tried several times to move that.
You have to move it above. Oh. So for example, even if you have nothing selected, when I click here, let's say I want to add an image or a video or something like that. So I go ahead, I've added that. Now I close it. Notice how it added that video below. I don't want that. So what you have to do is you have to select the block that you want to move. And then you have to use this little drag block button. And when you do that, it takes us out of there with a new version. Come on. And I have to scroll up. Let's see where I put it. I don't know where I want to put it. I'll put it. I'll put it after there. Now I've moved it. Whoops, wrong one. My bad. Let me hide this. Let's do this again. I want to go ahead, and I'm inside Mobirise 5.2.0. So let me go ahead again and add. Oh, here it is. So let's click again. So if I click here, now it allows me, and this is new, this is a different approach than the older version. And you decide where you want to insert it. So I'll go ahead and I'll insert it right there after wildlife photography with a little. And if you want to move it again, then you click again. And as you drag, it brings up on that particular page, where you want it placed. Maybe I want it right after the, that. And again, if you want to edit this in any way, if I want more padding, right now that says full width. If I don't want it full width, I want a smaller image, then I can do that. But now you'll notice we can adjust the top. You probably want to be consistent. with the amount of spacing that you have. And it's adding padding to it. Background color, you want to add a gradient or not. It's pretty wild. It's not bad for free, especially not bad. But that's all there is. So yes, it does automatically add it at the bottom, and then you need to move it up or down.
All right.
Anything else, guys?
Well, that's the only questions I had.
I don't know. Well, what do you guys, feedback? What do you guys think of Mobirise? I know that you like Wix better, Dan. But and that's fine. I don't know that I have a preference. It's just a different way to work. For something very quick and dirty, I think Mobirise works pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mobirise. It's kind of cool. I just wish they had more instructions.
I get it. But they don't. They figure it should be pretty intuitive, but you're right. You just have to really grope your way through it. And there are times when myself, if I haven't used it in a while, I haven't updated my own website, I forget where things are, what they've done. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it seems to be the direction that that web design is headed, especially for the person, well, I guess like myself, who knows a little bit about code, but wants to build a website in a hurry, and is going to be the one who maintains their own, the website. If you can hire someone, great, let them take care of it, and they can do all the coding. But increasingly, most people can't afford to hire a webmaster to take care of their website. So this is a quick and easy way of being able to do it. Something that looks clean, that works, and it isn't too difficult to maintain. And they have so many templates, so many extra templates that for special, for specializations, for people, for products, for repairs, people who do repairs, health. Shoot, they got one for antivirus. For attorneys, and medical things, therapy, cosmetology. I forget who in our class is involved in that. That would be a perfect one for them. Gadgets, you name it. They keep adding all of these. This would have been good for a former student of mine who rescues pets. And are they perfect? No, but I think overall they're pretty clean, and with not a lot of money, you can do something pretty decent. If you do want to spend a lot of, I won't say a lot of money, but if you have more money to spend, then what is it? It's I want to say it's not Facebook. It's oh, I can't think of the name of the company. It's I'll think of it next time. Anyway, there are a number of companies that are like Wix, but I think their templates are more elegant. So, yeah. You can see that there's some of these that I need to update that I've already purchased. You can add your PayPal shopping carts, all sorts of stuff, Instagram feeds, you name it. But these are all the templates that they have. Anywho. So that's pretty much it for today, folks. I think there's one more question here. I noticed in the newer versions of Mobirise, it has a self-publish method, just like Wix, unless the older ones did as well. You didn't notice? I'm not sure, Carlos. I'll have to look into that. It says, I noticed in the newer versions of Mobirise, it has a self-publish method, just like Wix, unless the older ones did as well. I just didn't notice. Yeah, I don't know. I will have to look into that myself. The older ones did give you multiple ways of publishing. You should be, the way that I showed you today, you should be able to publish in the older version. And again, if you have saved everything to your root folder, and if you're using a cPanel and you want to drag and drop your files into there, you can do that. So, and that seems to be an increasing way that a number of companies are doing that as well. It's more drag and drop rather than upload using FTP.
I sent you a link to my Mobirise site. I didn't know if you wanted to test it real quick just to make sure it works.
Hold on one sec. Which email did you send it to? The school one?
It might have been to your Gmail.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you sent it there. Okay. Okay, it's there. This is what it looks like.
Cool. It works.
Well, that's the important part, because if you don't get the post, it takes you to your gallery. There's your contact. You can scroll through here. Okay. Yeah, so it's working. You just need to clean up the parts now and make sure that you add your own nav bar and that sort of thing, you know, and change the order of it all, make sure that it all works. But yeah.
Well, that top part is the nav bar. Maybe it's just not. Well, I don't know. I think that's part of because it's free. Yeah.
Okay, that might be. That's something that they've added in a while back, about a year ago. I figured since I was incorporating this into my class, that I purchased the whole thing. So I guess that's what you get for
yeah, because I didn't buy anything. I just did whatever the free thing was.
I encourage anybody. I don't have any ownership into this company. So yeah. So for free, that's what you get. Yeah.
But you see how it has the help center and Mobirise form, that brown bar that's in the middle. I had tried dragging that, like you mentioned, and it still kept popping it to the top, and it was driving me nuts.
That's the footer, and it should be at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'll try it again.
Okay, yeah, keep tinkering with it. And then what you have, is what you have. It's just, just trying different ways. Oh, I just remember the name of that website. I don't know if any of you have ever tried Squarespace.
Yeah, I've never tried.
It's like Wix, but it costs, and their templates are really beautiful and elegant. So you guys, if you want, again, an on-site, a live web builder, it does cost you, but the templates are really beautiful. That would be a way to go too. Yeah. Or even if you don't for yourself, if someone comes to you and says, you know what, I want you to design me a website, and I'm going to pay you a monthly service fee to maintain it. that, you know, to make it easier on yourself, if you show them a template that was available in Squarespace and they're willing to pay you to do it, and that cuts out, you know, your work time, then why not? And it will probably be more flexible because you'll probably they'll want you to add all sorts of things that, you know, would take you a lot of time to build by hand. You know, but for really elaborate websites, then that's kind of the way it goes. You know, you have to, then you have teams of people working on this stuff. You have designers, you have coders, you have copywriters, you have all kinds of stuff. So, okie doke. So that might be looks like Carlos had an issue with that too, the footer. So if you save and you close it and you open it back up and then it finally let you add it, okay, then that's probably a glitch with their new thing. But you know, it's free. What can I tell you? And it does have problems from time to time. And gradually, you know, they'll work them out. And you'll get updates and that sort of thing, and update to a newer version. So, okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Carlos. So there, you're not the only one that have problems, Dan.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good to know because it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Close it, open it, try. You know, it kind of harkens back to the early days of, you know, computer graphics. I mean, I was always restarting the computer and crashing and doing this and that. So they're not flawless, not by any means. Okay. If there aren't any more questions, then I guess we'll call it a day. Thank you so much, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Let me stop recording here. So let me, so it's just me for a moment here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. And I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to take care of everybody. Have a good weekend.